put this down and put it up while we're riding, see if it makes a big difference. But yeah, so this is the 2013 Kawasaki Concours 1400. Feels big, but not too big. It looks big. It looks scarier than it feels. You know, when you're get this thing moving, the weight kind of disappears. The clutch pull is very soft, especially for a 1400. I would think, you know, the clutch would be a little bit harder to pull, but this thing is just easy. No hand fatigue at all with this guy. Doesn't really make much of a noise at all, but I guess that this type of bike, it's not about making noise and looking scary. I don't know if you'd have to be one ballsy dude to want to do wheelies on this thing. See how this windscreen works. Oh yeah, that makes a difference. Getting blasted, you know, when it's down. What's up? Up, down, up, down. Oh yeah, that's sick. My hands are warm, these heat grips work. I can feel the heat. I have them set up all the way. I can feel the heat just emanating from the grips. That is excellent. Ergonomics are really good. This is a little bit more sporty feeling, I feel, than the adventure bike that I just rode. But a little bit more, at least I feel like I'm a little bit more in an aggressive seating position than, you know, super upright. But this feels like you'd be a lot more connected to the bike than being completely upright, which is nice. Makes the bike feel safe, especially at speeds. I guess this is more of a cruiser machine, take it on the twisties and stuff, but put a lot of miles on this thing and not even feel it. Oh yeah, this thing's got power. Oh yeah. Wow, this is my first experience with heated grips, and I have to say, they do make a difference. Yeah, this thing pulls pretty hard. The brakes are really good too. It's just what I would expect out of a Kawasaki, you know, it's not gonna... The engine's gonna be pretty fucking awesome compared to its competitors. I think the reviews that I watched about this bike, it seems like Kawasaki has come up with the most sporty of the sport touring bikes, and I mean, this feels easy to live with. It might be a little bigger than the FJR 1300, but this thing has a good motor, which is something that I appreciate personally. You know, it's not a slouch. It pulls. Yeah, you could do wheelies with this thing. If you're not careful. It does have traction control, ABS, I think, I would assume, and all the other gadgetry of these new bikes nowadays, but this thing is smooth, but definitely still, you could see the sporty side of it too. You probably keep up with some sport bikes if you have the right guy riding it, and some noob sport bike riders. I don't think the gearbox is as slick as some other bikes I've ridden, but it still is pretty nice. Yeah, this engine just spools up and just blasts off. Just in second gear now. I'm the last guy in the demo group, so the guy behind me is kind of the tail guy who keeps everybody in check, so don't want to do anything ridiculous in front of him. Might not be too happy, but it's kind of hard not to go a little wild with this guy here. So let's see, the temperature outside 54. Fuel gauge, how much fuel we got? We got 82 miles left to the tank. Oh fuck, that's embarrassing. Stalled it. The heated grips are crazy. My hands are getting hot now. Yeah, it pulls. Pulls pretty hard. Third gear, cruising. Super duper smooth. I really want to get my hands on a ZX14, see what that's like, but this engine's just freaking smooth as hell. You don't feel it vibrate at all underneath you, really, even under pretty hard load. This guy behind me is swerving left and right. Let's get a feel for this thing. It feels light once it's moving, which is when you're riding, so I don't know if I'd commute in this thing. I think it might be a little bit cumbersome to commute unless you have an hour and a half commute or something to work, but as for taking this thing out on the weekends and just cruising around and going to different destinations and stuff, this thing is epic. Doesn't feel sluggish at all. The Tiger 800 kind of left me a little bit wanting with desire for more power, but this thing, I know if you rev the shit out of this thing is going to start moving. I'll fly past all these guys and leave a little space and then just give it some. Yeah, this thing's fast. And the brakes are excellent. Good job, Kawasaki. You know how to make fun toys. And in 6th gear, let's put this thing in 6th gear. Now I'm driving efficiently. And it still has enough power to get you moving even in 6th gear. You probably don't even need a shift, really, if you're cruising around. You know, once you get going, you just leave it in 6 and just kind of enjoy the surrounding areas and just enjoy the environment you're in and just the ride. I have to focus on shifting all the time, because this engine just pull no matter what. I have to say, if I was to get a, oh my god, I hope you guys can hear on the microphone the wind blast and then it disappear with this electronic windscreen. I kind of wish my bike had that sometimes. Fuck, that's awesome. Such an awesome feature. You don't have to take your hands off the handlebars to even do that, you know, thumb switch. Just depending on, you know, the weather or whatever, maybe you're hot, put that thing down. If you're cold, put it up. A day like today, it's mid-50s, you know, it gets a little chilly on a bike, so why not have it up? But if it's in the summer and you're, you know, want some more ventilation, just pop it down. And I guess depending on how tall you are and stuff, you know, you may not need it up all the way, so that's a great feature. These mirrors really do work, in my opinion. I don't think you really do much better than these guys. I'm sure if I set them up to my seating position and height and everything, they'd be great. I think it even has a power outlet there, so you could probably plug in something. It's probably like a cigarette lighter outlet. But yeah, the handlebar position. Now, as I ride this bike more and more, I realize how comfortable it is. Initially, you know, you're getting used to it, you don't realize, but you kind of just sink into this thing and become one with it, and it feels effortless. But you still have the engine to back yourself up if you know, you have to make any evasive actions or whatever, overtake some cars. This thing pulls hard, so I don't see that ever being an issue. Yeah, this thing's a fucking beast. It's heavy, but super powerful. Not the fastest bike in the world, but probably one of the most comfortable. The seat is amazing. I'm a skinny dude, so, you know, I feel it when the seat's hard, and this one, it has enough cushion, I think, to satisfy anybody. It's nice and wide enough for you, and still narrow enough to actually be able to maneuver around the bike and everything. Yeah, these heated grips, oh my god, these are amazing. They I really, honestly, my hands are getting kind of hot. It's like when you're in a car that's really good heated seats and you put them up all the way, and then, you know, after a little bit you're like, I'm gonna actually turn these down because my butt is burning. And that's basically what is happening to my hands, which is the first time it's ever happened on a bike. Throttle is nice and smooth. You know, you're not going to get hand fatigue from having to turn this thing too far. Wide open throttle is not not too much of a reach. Not that you'd be really doing that on this bike, but if you were a little bit aggressive, you know, it wouldn't tire you out. If you find some twisties that are nice, you can easily do it with this. This bike is amazing. I just wish I could take one of these out for a week, just go explore and see how many miles I could do. A hooligan on a sport tour. It's kind of funny. The controls are a little bit out for me. I think I would adjust them to be a little bit closer. You kind of have to reach for the clutch and brake, but I'm sure they're at the furthest out setting, so that's kind of a normal thing. Aside from me stalling this thing, it's been pretty awesome. Nice and fast and powerful. This thing has, it's kicked some butt, you know. This thing has power and it can handle itself. It's not the lightest bike in the world, but it doesn't feel heavy to me. At least in these swooping corners, you know. I don't know if anybody who'd buy something like this would really go that hard in the corners. I mean, even though you could, I don't know if you'd really want to, especially with the passenger in the back, but you could easily, you know, pretty much ride anything as long as you go slow enough and be fine with this. It's so smooth, you're just going to want to go out and ride this bike. You know, you're going to want to go out and see the world and travel the country and take your wife on the back, and she's going to be comfortable, you're going to be comfortable. Hands are going to stay warm. You can ride this bike in the fall, the winter, I'm sure, and it'll be fine. Has all the technology, keeping yourself out of trouble with all these 1400 cc's. So you can get yourself moving quick on this thing. This is not a slow bike. It's not a Panigale, but it also isn't a, you know, 250 Ninja. Just because it's big doesn't mean it's slow. Like I said, some of these dudes on this ride are not, you know, not trying to be fast riders. They're, I think a lot of them are legitimately interested in these bikes. Whereas John and I need to get my bike, the headlights replaced under the factory recall, among other things, and figured, what the hell, may as well, if there's a demo day, may as well do both. And I'm glad we did, because it's very interesting to try different bikes and get a new perspective on, you know, what's out there. Because even though I like sport bikes and, you know, super naked bikes and stuff like that, you could still have an appreciation for people who like these bikes and kind of check them out and see how they are. Now that said, I'm probably not going to go out and ride a Harley to see what it's like, but these bikes are pretty badass, you know. You do a lot with them, and they don't take a toll on your body. That's the main thing. Super comfortable. You don't get wind blasts, so you're not going to get, your neck's not going to get tired or anything, and you know, your hands are going to stay warm because you got heated grips. Your back's not going to hurt because this thing is like freaking smooth as hell. There's some gravel on the road, not that it matters, but overall, you know, you're going to be able to ride this bike a lot more and a lot longer than something super sporty. Well, thanks for watching, guys, and if you have any questions about either of these bikes, let me know. I'll give you my feedback coming from, you know, a rider of super sports and, you know, super naked bikes. I can kind of give you my perspective of these, I guess they're super sport touring bikes, these 1400cc bikes, and the naked bikes, on how I feel they rode. Because, I mean, when you're dealing with the super sports, they're kind of the best of the best as far as handling and performance goes, and the worst of comfort and ergonomics, whereas this is really the best ergonomics, you know, still has the power and everything, but you're not going to be taking this, you know, on the track, obviously. You can't drag your knee on one of these, but some people never have that as a goal, and I think the technology on this bike is really, you get a lot for the money, and it feels solid. You know, a little bit plasticky here and there, you know, the materials don't look high-end per se, but, you know, the fit and finish feels good. Totally different world than sport bike world, but you gotta have respect for it. People ride these things, they probably once rode bikes like mine, but maybe they're getting older and they want something a little bit more reasonable.